Don't get me wrong, I'm a huge fan of competitive games. I've played Counter-Strike, Dota, Overwatch, some more Dota, but up until about a year ago, I had never played Rocket League. Like, really? Soccer with cars? I couldn't imagine that this game would offer much to be desired competitively when there were other more sophisticated and complex games out there. I don't think I could have been more wrong. Rocket League is elegant, classy, simple in concept sure, but with a very high skill cap that keeps you wanting to come back game after game to improve and hit those impressive shots that make you feel all warm and fuzzy inside. Hey everyone, I am Blake, also known as Defied, and today I want to share a game with you that I really enjoy. And of course, that is Rocket League. Now, I'm not the best or the worst at this game, but I am having a lot of fun playing it. And if you're competitive like me, or you like typical sports, like soccer, which is basically what this game is about, then I have a really good feeling that you are going to like it too. Rocket League is a great game for casual gamers as well, as the matches are fast-paced and quick. So start your engines and get ready to zoom into the thrilling world of car soccer. Rocket League blends the sci-fi fantasy of flying, rocket-powered cars with the classic game of soccer, and the resulting game is nothing short of absolute exhilaration. Sending a cracker of a shot at the opposing team's net and then watching it explode as the crowd cheers you on makes you feel like the star player of the game, just like it did for me many years ago. Growing up, soccer was an enormous passion of mine, and Rocket League somehow transports me back to the fun I had as a little kid who wished to be in the big leagues someday. Probably the most notable thing to mention was just how easy it is to get into. I mean, it's soccer with flying cars. You don't need to learn hundreds of heroes or controls like in Dota 2 or League of Legends. There's not a bunch of maps and skill shots to memorize like in Counter-Strike in order to play well. No, you can literally jump into a match, and after fumbling around while you learn the controls for a few minutes, you can play Rocket League. Perhaps you aren't quite the Ronaldo of this world yet, but you understand the most fundamental mechanics of the game and are on your way. Speaking of controls, I found them quite intuitive and easy to learn, which again helps with a beginner experience. There are literally only a handful of controls, especially if you're playing with a controller like I am. They are a lot like other racing games out there, with the rear triggers used for accelerating and braking, the left joystick for turning and the right joystick for moving the camera around. You'll also need to learn how to jump, boost, power slide, and also use your focus shift to toggle between watching where your car is going and watching where the ball is. As you progress, there is only one more control to learn, and that is air roll, which is invaluable for correcting your car midair to hit the ball or land on all fours. Of course, there are also quick chat controls which are assigned to your D-pad, but they are not required for any kind of car control. The gameplay itself is fun, fast-paced, and sometimes even comedic, especially at the lower levels where players are still learning to judge where the ball is going to be after a bounce. Being a competitive game though, there is nothing better than a close game that really fills the adrenaline tank as you back and forth with the enemy team to come out on top. In the early days, a lot of the game revolves around just simply hitting the ball hard, which is quite satisfying to do. At the higher levels, the time and effort put into practicing feels very rewarding when you are able to set up or receive a quality pass and convert that into a goal. That being said, some of the most exciting moments happen after the timer hits 0, as the game doesn't finally end until the ball touches the ground. Scoring that equalizer or game-winning goal after 0 is bound to put a wide grin on your face. But even if the goal doesn't affect the overall outcome, the adrenaline rush that goes with the skill of keeping the ball off the ground before that final explosion is probably one of the best feelings you'll get from this game. It's akin to scoring the game-winning penalty shot that sends your team and the rest of the crowd wild as they lift you up the hero of the match. And if that doesn't get you excited, I don't know what will. One of the letdowns of this game though is the poor in-game voice comms. Competitive games rely on good communication between teammates, but the muffled, positional-based audio sounds as if you are trying to scream underwater. You might catch a fraction of what they are trying to say, but for the most part, it is absolute garbage, and if you are serious about communication, you are better off playing with friends and using a dedicated comms service like Discord. Something that I quite liked was the way that the developer went about creating multiple map variants. Although the game is overall the same and the size of the fields changes just slightly, the variety in fields adds to the replay value of the game and makes it actually quite beautiful to behold. You've got the classic soccer pitch feel with Champions Field, but Salty Shores, for example, gives off a more relaxed beach vibe, while Forbidden Temple transports you to a pretty pitch set in what looks like a mountainous temple filled area of Japan. Of course, there are others, but overall these make the matches much more interesting and not so repetitive. The overall look of the game seems to lean a little bit more towards the cartoon side, but does take into account some realism and authentic car designs. You also have endless customizations available to you with the ability to change the body, paint style, rims, and a bunch of other things to make your car your own, and I quite enjoyed this and am proud of my hot little hatch. That being said though, I don't like that a lot of the skins cost a lot of money to make, when you already need to purchase the game. This 20XX skin, for example, would cost somewhere around 30 Australian dollars, which seems a bit steep for a single paint job, and after buying rims, a car body, and whatever else you like, you'd be easily spending over $50 for a full setup. Monstercat playlists fill out much of the audio track with a selection of some of the more upbeat and high tempo songs, which really suits the game's vibe. While this isn't my favourite kind of music, I found it to hype me up for each match, as the energetic music suits the game's fast pace perfectly. Some of the songs I don't really like, but if you're in the menu, you can skip these with a simple button press, or even turn off a whole album if you don't like it. Sound effects can be customised in the garage screen as well, with the ability to change your engine sound, boost and goal explosion to your liking. Your typical ball hit, power slide or boost pickup are not overpowering and sound like you would imagine they would if you were really playing soccer with a car. Together, the audio and visual effects combine nicely, and the final result is a well-crafted atmosphere that just works without being too childish or overly realistic. Being a competitive game, a lot of people will be drawn to it simply because of the ranked matchmaking system. Now, Rocket League is available on many platforms including PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and even the Nintendo Switch, and with many players across multiple platforms, gives need to a well-implemented cross-play function. I do have to commend Psyonix here, as the cross-play integration is seamless across all platforms and enables faster lobbies and queue times, which is really nice. Many of the other competitive games have queue times of around 3 to 10 minutes average, but I rarely find it takes longer than a minute for the core soccer modes in Rocket League. If you are bored of the core soccer modes though, Rocket League does have some alternative playlists that are heaps of fun on their own. You've got Rumble, which incorporates a variety of power-ups, Snow Day, which converts the ball into a puck with the likeness of ice hockey, and even a unique mode called Drop Shot where you break a hole in the floor to score through. But my favourite alternative mode here was Hoops, which is basically basketball with a car. They've done this quite cleverly in a way that forces you to use wall and aerial mechanics a bit more, but have also transformed the classic grass soccer pitch into a hardwood basketball court, which screeches perfectly every time you turn or slide. If you really want to improve and rank up, there are actually quite a lot of mechanics to learn. Thankfully, the game has implemented some fairly good generic packs that can be used to practice certain aspects such as goalie, striker or aerials. The best training packs though are those in the custom training section. These user-made packs can dramatically increase your abilities through repetition, and my favourite part was just how many there were. You can practice anything from basic shots or saves all the way up to advanced mechanics such as wall dribbles or shadow saves. These training packs are invaluable for practice, and I think they are a great feature in the game. Luckily for the PC players, you've also got additional content from users on the Steam Workshop. These range widely from custom maps to other training content, and even time trials, which are a lot of fun to try and keep you entertained for many hours. Unfortunately though, these are unavailable to users on other platforms, and it would be nice to see the developer implement or port them over. That being said though, I'm not really sure of the barriers that prevent this. Finally, as an esport, people expect some level of entertainment from watching this game, just as people would be entertained watching a traditional sport such as soccer or AFL here in Australia. I would say that Rocket League is probably the best viewing experience I've ever had for an esport. It's not just that the game is fun and exciting to watch, especially with professionals who do some of the nuttiest and most skillful plays in the game. Of course that is a huge part of it, but it's also because it's just so simple to understand. Anyone can tune into a match and quickly work out what is happening and enjoy watching it. But the same cannot be said for more complicated titles such as Dota or League of Legends. Those games have an enormous number of characters, skills, mechanics, and nuances that only a seasoned player would understand, and an outsider just wouldn't get the same level of entertainment from it and is likely to turn it off. Because of that, Rocket League is simply a great balance of video game and traditional sport that would likely excite and intrigue a wider viewership. Overall, I think there is something to be said about the unique blend of cars and soccer that makes this such a fun but quite elegant and technical game. For the competitive players out there, it offers a huge skill ceiling that is constantly being pushed to the limits, and the fast-paced, intense gameplay will keep you coming back for more. But even if you are a casual player or short on time, the quick but enjoyable games are perfect to jump into and play with yourself or some friends. If you are playing with friends online though, you'll find playing with external comms through Discord or another service to be much better than those in game. I had a lot of fun playing and making this review video for Rocket League. Let me know what you think about the game in the comment section below and give me a like if you enjoyed the video. Maybe even consider subscribing and letting me know if you want more review videos in the future. Thanks again for watching guys, I'm Defied and happy gaming.